Back on In Focus, Home Affairs has been dealt yet another legal blow. This after the Johannesburg High Court interdicted the ministry from deporting illegal migrants who stayed at Usindiso Building in Marshalltown. The Commission of Inquiry into Usindiso Building fire is currently hearing evidence following the deaths of 77 people at the hijacked five-storey building in downtown Johannesburg on the 31st of August. For more on that conversation, we're joined now by Nigel Branken, a social worker with the Johannesburg Victim Support Group. Nigel, good to have you. Thank you very much for your time. The High Court saying, well, the department needs to keep these 32 Zimbabweans in the country a little bit longer, so that there is actually immigrants in the country for a little bit longer to be part of the commission. What's your reaction?
Yeah, I think it's a very important statement that the court has made. I mean, since the fires happened, we've seen a lot of actions by both the city and Home Affairs to marginalize and make more vulnerable these people on an ongoing basis. We've seen consistent arrests of these people. And then on the 13th of November, we had people who were staying at the temporary shelter the city had set up. The city basically moved in, evicted about 30 families, and then they arrested these just on 40 immigrants. And of course, these are immigrants who lost their papers in the fire and so have no way of proving their status in South Africa. Many of them had affidavits from their embassies. So, for example, the Tanzanian embassy had issued affidavits saying that they were in the process of redocumenting them. But the Department of Home Affairs immediately arrested them and tried to deport them. And one has to say, what is the motive for this? Why are we trying to stop people from testifying at a commission of inquiry in which 77 people died? Surely we want to know the truth.
And in your view, what sort of information are these victims currently having that would be beneficial to this commission?
Well, the Johannesburg Fire Support Group was a group that we've set up with the victims, and we've managed to get Norton Rose Fulbright to represent them on a pro bono basis. So we're very grateful for them volunteering to represent the victims. So far, we've interviewed just on 340 of the victims and had taken in-depth kind of statements from them. And people have got stories about how they came to occupy the building, what the city was doing in terms of whether or not it provided fire safety, what happened in terms of how the building, what happened in the building that transpired over time, and then, of course, critical evidence about what happened in the actual fire itself. There are all sorts of stories coming out from what happened in the fire, and I think we need to leave that for the Commission of Inquiry to go into. But there are suspicions of various members and people who perhaps could have. It could have been arson in the fire. There are some allegations around that. There's allegations around, it could have just been some sort of neglect on the part of people in the building. But it's critical for the Commission to hear the evidence directly from those people who were in the building and who can give evidence about what actually happened.
Nigel, I was saying, I mean, from the 400 or so, you're saying you have interviewed, right? Compared to the stories that we have been hearing about what was happening in that building, how structures were built inside. Basically, it was a squatter camp that began to mushroom and emerge in that building. There was waste and so on and so forth. But the picture could have been that there might have been also improper use of fire for cooking and for keeping warm. That could have probably led to this. Hence, we are having the inquiry. But in your view, are you saying that could just be scapegoating, and maybe the city would have more to do with what was going on there than what they're letting up?
Yeah, I mean, the concerning thing is, on the day of the fire, we had two groups that kind of came out, groups, if you like. Essentially, the city came out. We had the Speaker of the city coming to the scene and straight away saying, this was all illegal immigrants in the building. and straight away starting to blame people who were in the building for the fire. We also had Operation Dudula coming out on the day, and then straight away celebrating, taunting the victims, if you like. And of course, what we've now discovered, I think we've had 501 survivors that we've accounted for from the fire, and of those survivors, 265 were South Africans. So, in fact, the majority of people in the building were, in fact, South Africans. And the narratives that get created around this are often to take away responsibility of the city from acting to help marginalize in the city. We've got a government that is, we've got a historical challenge of poverty and inequality. We've got a massive housing crisis in the city, and we need government to come in and to play its role in sorting this out.
Is there a broader campaign, I mean, just outside of the current High Court judgment, where they will be kept in the country, at least the 32, for the duration of the commission? I'm not quite sure where, maybe at Lindell, I think that was one of the applications, or elsewhere. But after the commission, are you saying there is still a huge chance that the 32 will not be deported because I suppose they would have their documents?
Well, you know, some of them might get their documents during the process. Some of them may be asylum seekers. We still need to fully investigate that. We've been working around the clock since the fire, often hampered by government because of the interventions that they're doing that are just not helping the victims. But the plan is that at least for the duration of the commission, in fact, that's what the court has ordered, that these people will remain in South Africa. And the purpose of that is twofold. The one is that we want to hear the truth of what actually happened. And secondly, if there was somebody else involved in starting the fire, they may have a legitimate claim against the person who was responsible, whether it's the city or some sort of arsonist that came in into the building. And so they've also got a right to justice, even if they are illegally in the country. At the moment, they are at Lindela, and they'll remain there. The court's ordered that they'll be able to participate in the Commission of Inquiry from Lindela, and that they'll only be able to be deported after the Commission of Inquiry has made its findings.
Nigel, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on. That was the Johannesburg Victims Support Group social worker there, Nigel Branken.